the VW bus, it wouldn't go. It just kind of stopped. So for many years with 10,000 Homes, we've done training programs, done lots of different programs, but one of the programs was focused more towards international volunteers, people who would come for 3 to 6 months and work alongside the 10,000 Homes projects and all the stuff we had going on. Typically, we would have about 3 months of training at our 10,000 Homes campus in South Africa. But then the last 2 months of this program, we would go to another part of Africa and we would volunteer and work with another nonprofit, another organization doing like-minded work. And we did this for a number of reasons. One was the training, the perspective that you get from learning from other people. A big part of it was to just build more relationships through Africa, and then also just to maintain a spirit of service, right? And yeah, it's been great. We've met some amazing people on the way. Well, many years ago, like in 2008, we had a group, and this group was in South Africa, and then they were going to go and work with a couple projects in Mozambique, and then end working with a project in Malawi. And if any of you know the geography, Mozambique is a really long country, and then Malawi sits above it, and it's a bit of a drive from where we were in South Africa. It would take a long time, many days, if not to drive all the way up there. And that's what they were going to do. And what they were going to take was a 1970 something VW bus, and this bus was kitted out for Africa. It had a higher lift, but it was really old. And one day we were having a preparation meeting for this trip, and one young woman from America brought up a concern about driving that vehicle to Malawi, and if it was the best because it was so old. And I was trying to ease her mind, and I was saying, oh, it'll be all right, and this kind of stuff. And then I finally just said, well, if it does break down, well, at least you'll have a story to tell. And I think if I remember correctly, I took it a step further, and I even said something to the effect of, well, I think I'm going to start praying that you guys have a story to tell on this one. And maybe not the best thing to say, but I said it nonetheless. Fast forward, they made it through Mozambique. They drove all the way up Mozambique, and Mozambique is known for its roads and its potholes. They call them swimming pools there, but it was a tough ride all the way up to Malawi. I did not make the journey with them. What I did was I caught a plane and flew up to Malawi and met them up there, and we had a few days of working with them and the projects and stuff. And then we came to Saturday and our day off, and I suggested, hey, let's drive a bit further north. It's about a 4-hour drive. Let's drive up north for the day to Lake Malawi and go spend the day at the beach on Lake Malawi for our day off. So we all loaded up early in the morning and made that drive, and we got to we were driving along a tar road, and we saw a sign that said 2 miles to the beach resort where we were going to, and you had to turn off onto a sand road. And I'll never forget, but we made that turn around the corner to on the sand road, and as you put your foot on the accelerator to keep going, the combi, the VW bus, it wouldn't go. It just kind of stopped, but the engine was still running. We could hear the engine going, and you hit the accelerator and it would rev the engine up, but we weren't going anywhere. So we put it in park, got out, and walked around and looked underneath the VW bus, and the engine had completely fallen out of its mounts and was sitting right on the dirt floor, just running. And the engine mounts had given out, and we were in the middle of nowhere, Africa, no cell phone service. Back then we just had a little Nokia, but there was no service where we were at. It was really remote as I've ever been in Africa. And we were like figuring out what to do. So we decided to find something to kind of wedge and hoist that motor up a little bit so it could get back kind of halfway on the mounts, so that we could push it, because the motor was on the ground, and we found a way to do that. And we just started pushing it down the road, and next thing we know, children from the local villages were coming out from everywhere and hanging out with us and seeing what was going on. And some of the ladies got out and were dancing with them, and it was just a really good time. But the best part of the story was when I was at the back of this VW bus with my hands on the back windscreen pushing along. The young woman who had questioned us taking that, she was in the driver's seat doing the steering, and she leaned out the window and said, "Hey Jeremy, do you remember when you said that you were going to pray that we would have a story to tell? Well, I've been praying that you would be here when it happened." And yeah, it was a great moment. Yeah, I'll never forget that, and we just all smiled. In the story, we ended up finding a mechanic who had a little shop under a tree, and we towed it over to him. While we went to the beach, he fixed it. We came back, gave him $20 US, and we drove it all the way back to South Africa. Yeah.